नमस्ते मेरे दोस्तों, कैसे हैं आप? Oh, hello everybody. Welcome Raymond. Hey Sumio. Hey Fireholder, Toynbee Idea, Jose. Welcome. Wow, thanks guys for showing. Namaste Void Village. Namaste. Hello Case Coyote. Silas Grayson. Namaste दोस्त. मैं ठीक हूँ. आप कैसे हैं भैया? Can we fix the ship with paper mache? We cannot. It will burst into flames. Hello, Evan. Yes, Little Red Riding Hood. Okay, so welcome everybody. Welcome to my first language learning stream. I am really excited and I'm nervous too, of course, because it's been a long time since I've done intense studying. Hi, Forte. Welcome. So I just want to lay out a couple of ground rules before we get started. So what you may notice is that, the plan for tonight is you're going to help me rewrite the story of Little Red Riding Hood in Hindi. And to do that, we'll go through the story in English. We'll do it like line by line or a couple lines at a time. And then I will decide, we'll figure out the best way for me to write it based on what I remember. Hey Shadow Ray Gun, welcome. If there's anybody in the stream right now who speaks Hindi or is a native speaker of Hindi, I just have one request, which is that I am super grateful that you've stopped by to see my stream, but keep in mind that this is a learning stream for me. So if you see me if I type out a mistake, like if I write a sentence completely incorrectly, please wait until I finish the sentence, finish typing it, and then and feel good, pretty confident that I've gotten it correct. And then if you see a mistake, then by all means let me know and I'll do the correction. That way I get the benefit of learning from my mistake and not being distracted by the chat, and then you get to feel helpful in a really productive way. Jose is saying there's some lag, Modbot. Is anyone else having lag problems? That's the ground rules for tonight. And then for my English crowd, my English speaking crowd, if I kind of ramble off in Hindi in big chunks tonight, which I'm going to do because it's practice, don't panic. Don't start typing, oh, what is she saying? What did you say? What did you say? I will go back and I will say what I said again in English. So no worries. So if that's good, and I picked Little Red Riding Hood because I figured it was a fairly well-known European fairy tale that most people would know enough about to feel like they could help with. Okay, great. Awesome. All right, Jose. So everybody else seems to be not experiencing lag, Jose, so maybe check your connection. I hope the story has the good ending. Well, that depends on what you define as good. The original ending, or the Disney whitewashed ending, because you guys will help me pick which ending you want. You should be scared. It's Hindi. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is just to kind of warm up, is I'm going to give a little bit of backstory in Hindi as to, why I speak Hindi at all, what my interest is in, and then I'll do that in Hindi, and then I will go back and re-explain that in English for everybody, just so that you guys get a sense of what the language, for those who don't hear the language a lot, what it sounds like from albeit a learner, not a native speaker, and so that I get to practice. So here we are. Oh, I hope everybody has some nice drinks some hydration. All right, here we go. नमस्ते मेरे दोस्तों, आपका स्वागत है। मेरे स्ट्रीम आने के लिए मुझे आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देती हूँ। मैंने बहुत लंबे समय से हिंदी की पढ़ाई नहीं की है, क्योंकि मैं इंडिया नहीं जा सकती और मेरे हिंदी बोलने वाले लोगों से बात नहीं कर पाती हूँ। कभी कभी मैं ऑनलाइन से मेरे भारतीय दोस्तों से बात करती हूँ। लेकिन बहुत कम, क्योंकि इंडिया में आप अब जल्दी ही मैं उग जाती हूँ, वे वे सो जाते हैं, और जल्दी ही वे उग जाते हैं, मैं सो जाती हूँ। तो इसलिए मैं अक्सर उनसे बात नहीं कर पाती हूँ। So I'll go back and English that. So welcome, friends. It's been a long time. You're all welcome. Welcome to my stream. Thank you for coming. It's been a long time since I've spoken Hindi because I don't have native. I can't go to India, and it's been a long. And I can't. Don't have any native Hindi speakers around me to speak to very often. When Indian speakers are waking up, I'm going to bed, and when they're going to bed, I'm going to sleep. So that's the time difference situation. So that's the catching you up to the English part. तो मेरी कहानी है कि लगता है 8 साल पहले मैं दूसरे जगह में रहती थी, और मुझे अकेली थी, और मुझे बहुत अकेलापन हो रहा था। और लेकिन मुझे उपन्यास और अलग-अलग दुनिया के देशों की कहानियाँ पढ़ना बहुत पसंद करती थी। तो इसलिए मैं बहुत ज़्यादा समय तक कहानियाँ पढ़ने की बताती थी। एक कहानी थी रामायण बहुत अच्छा धार्मिक की कहानी है, हिंदू धर्म की कहानी है, और बहुत अच्छी कहानी है। तो मैंने बहुत लंबे समय से मेरे पास ये किताब थी, लेकिन उस समय तक मैंने कभी नहीं पढ़ी थी। तो उस समय मैंने निश्चय किया कि बहुत बड़ी किताब है, बहुत लंबी किताब है, तो मैंने सोचा था शायद मुझे पढ़ना चाहिए। तो so when I was about 8 years ago, I was living in a different place, and I was alone, and I was feeling very lonely. But I had a lot of books, and I liked to read. And I like to read stories from all over the world, like Lokatha is this actual story, fairy tales, Lokatha, or Pari ki Kahani, fairy tales. So I had one book from a friend that I had had for a long time but had not read, and it was the Ramayana. And the Ramayana is a very important Hindu religious text. It's a poem. It's actually originally a Sanskrit poem. It's evading me now how long it is, but it's very long, extremely long. Lokatha, yes, Lokatha. So it's sort of log is people, is the word for people, and katha is another word for story. Lokatha. So, or you can say pari ki kahani. Pari is the word for fairy, or like whimsical fairy creature in Hindi. Pari ki kahani, and kahani is a word for story or book. And so I had the Ramayana, and I decided I should read it. So मैंने पढ़ने के बाद मुझे तो actually पढ़ते हुए मुझे इस कहानी बहुत पसंद आया। मुझे इस कहानी बहुत पसंद आया, और ये इस कहानी मेरे दिल के पास आई। तो लगता था प्यार में गिर गई. I fell in love. प्यार में गिर गई. I don't actually know if that's the appropriate way to say I fell in love, but प्यार में गिर गई. That's the literal translation. I fell into love. But पढ़ने के बाद, पूरी कहानी पढ़ने के बाद मुझे पता चला कि मुझे हिंदू धर्म के बारे में कुछ नहीं पता था, और मुझे ज़्यादा जानना, I guess मुझे ज़्यादा पता चलना चाहती थी, I wanted to learn more. और मुझे पता चला कि मेरे घर के पास उस समय मेरे घर के पास एक हिंदू मंदिर था और तो मैंने निश्चय किया कि मैं इस मंदिर जाऊंगी और मैं मंदिर के लोगों से रामायण के बारे में सीखूंगी और हिंदू धर्म के बारे में सीखूंगी. So after I read the book, while I was reading the book, I fell in love with it. I just fell in love with every part of it. And I loved it so much, I did a whole series of art. Actually, I did not say this in Hindi. प्यार की वजह से मैं बहुत ज़्यादा चित्र बनाया. ये रामायण पर आधारित की चित्र बनाया. I made paintings based on the Ramayana because I loved it so much. But after I read it, I realized I didn't know anything about Hindu religion, and I wanted to learn more. So I found out that there was a Hindu temple near where I was living at the time, and I decided that I would go there and I would ask that about it. I would, just ask questions, which was terrifying. But मैंने गई, वहाँ पर गई. I went, and वहाँ पे लोग बहुत अच्छे लोग थे. बहुत कैसे कहते हैं? How do you say? वे बहुत not मिलानसार. They were very social, very very dostana. Dostane, I think dostane is friendly. And मुझसे सब कुछ बताया हिंदी रामायण के बारे में और हिंदू धर्म के बारे में. और मैंने निश्चय किया कि हो सकता है मैं ये अच्छे लोगों से सारे जानकारियाँ ये सारी जानकारियाँ लेना नहीं चाहिए और उन्हें ज़्यादा देना के मुकाबले. I don't know how to say. I went to the temple and I met very lovely people who were very patient and very friendly and very willing to explain everything about the Ramayana and about Hindu religion to me. But I felt like I shouldn't. This is the part that I couldn't figure out how to say. See if I can think about it, because I once knew how to say this. I felt like I shouldn't be taking something without giving something back. So मैंने सोचा था कि शायद मुझे कुछ नहीं लेना चाहिए अगर मैं उन्हें कुछ देना नहीं करूँगी. So yes, I think it's probably not exactly right, but that's got all the basics ingredients for that phrase. I felt like I shouldn't take something without giving. So मैंने निश्चय किया कि मैं स्वयं सेवा करूँगी. मैं सेवा करूँगी मंदिर के पास और मंदिर में कुछ सफाई करूँगी. मैं मंदिर की रसोई में खाना पकाऊँगी और खाना पकाने की मदद करूँगी. और अगर पंडित जी रसोई से पंडित जी को कुछ चाहिए, मैं ये चीज़ उसे लेकर उसके पास जा सकते और उन्हें दे सकती हूँ. Namaste, Tori Tuft. Welcome. So I decided that I would volunteer at the temple. I would come har Saptahant is weekend. Every weekend I would come and I would clean the kitchen, or I would help cook in the kitchen, or if the pandit, the priest, if the priest needed anything, I would bring it to him. And धीरे-धीरे जब मैं मंदिर में समय बिताती थी, मैं अलग-अलग लोगों से बहुत सी चीजें सीखी. So I spent a lot of time at the temple, and slowly I learned a lot from different people and learned how मैंने सीखा था कि हिंदू धर्म में बहुत अलग-अलग सोच है, अलग-अलग मानसिकता है. तो लोग सोचते हैं कि सारे हिंदू धर्म के लोग एक सा चीजें मानते हैं, एक से सोच मानते हैं, लेकिन ऐसा सच नहीं है. So I learned that Hindu religion is very has a lot of variety. a lot of different groups within it, and that they don't all think the same. There's a lot of different ideas and a lot of different perspectives, and so that was very lovely. But लेकिन दूसरी बात है कि जब मैं मंदिर में थी, हिंदुस्तानी लोग अलग अलग हिंदुस्तानी लोग वहाँ पर गए थे. सो हिंदू बोलने वाले लोग, हिंदी बोलने वाले लोग, तमिल बोलने वाले लोग, let's see, मराठी, कनाडा, सब हिंदुस्तानी भाषा वहाँ पर थे. So when I was there, I would hear the Indian languages. And it wasn't just Hindi, because all of the Indian communities would go there. And so there was Tamil and Marathi, and there was Kannada, and there was, Odisha and Bangla, and it was a lovely mix. लेकिन उससे ज़्यादा ये भाषा से उन भाषाओं में एक भाषा है कि हिंदी भाषा. अधिकतर लोग वहाँ पर हिंदी बोलते थे. So most people did speak Hindi though. So मैंने उनकी बात सुनी, और ये बात सुनकर मैंने सोचता था कि मैं हिंदी सीखना चाहती हूँ, मैं हिंदी बोलना चाहती हूँ, क्योंकि उस समय मुझे बॉलीवुड की फिल्म्स देखती थी, और मुझे बॉलीवुड फिल्म्स बहुत पसंद थी और पसंद है. मुझे माफ करो. Sorry. So among those languages was Hindi, and most people spoke Hindi. And because they didn't have, because in the temple was the only real place that they could speak their home languages and then have anyone understand them, that's what they spoke. And so after hearing the language, I decided I wanted to learn it, because at that time I was really getting into Bollywood films, and I loved the sound of the language, and I had always wanted to learn a second language. जब मैं छोटी थी, मैं एस्पेनियोल सीखने की कोशिश की, लेकिन मैं उसमें सफल नहीं थी. When I was much younger, I tried to learn Spanish, but I was not successful, and I always felt pretty bad about that. So I said, I'll try. मैं हिंदी भाषा सीखने की कोशिश करूँगी. So that's the story about how I started kind of getting interested in Hindi. And उससे शुरुआत में, in the beginning, मैं हिंदी भाषा सीखने की कक्षा पैसे नहीं खर्च कर सकती थी. I didn't have the money to afford Hindi lessons. लेकिन मंदिर में एक दंपति छोटे छोटे बच्चों को हिंदी सिखा रहे थे. So at the time I didn't have the money to take Hindi lessons formally, but at the temple, for cultural preservation reasons, there was a couple that was teaching the children Hindi, and they मुझे अनुमति नहीं. What's the word for invitation? I'll have to write that down. Invitation, to invite. I could say bulana. Muche, but I'll write down invitation because I can't remember. Invite, to invite. ये दंपति महिला मुझे Hindi lessons लेने को बुलाया. So the woman, the wife, invited me, called me to, welcomed me in to learn lessons with the बच्चों के साथ. तो देखो, आपके मन में देखो, सारे छोटे छोटे बच्चे हिंदी सीख रहे हैं, भारतीय हिंदुस्तानी बच्चे हैं, और मैं गोरी लड़की, गोरी महिला, बड़ी गोरी महिला हिंदी सीख रही थी भी. So imagine in your mind all these cute Indian children learning Hindi, young, all 10 or younger, and then me, presumably looking like a white woman, adult woman, learning Hindi alongside them. लगता था मैं हो सकता था मैं ये छोटे बच्चे अपने पढ़ाई से विकसित हो गए गए थे. I think that maybe I distracted them from their studies. So मैं लंबे समय तक उस परिस्थिति में हिंदी नहीं सीख रही थी. So I was not learning Hindi in that environment for very long. I felt like it was a little unfair. So उससे मैंने ऑनलाइन से और किताबों से मैंने किताब खरीद ली और फिर मैं ऑनलाइन से मैंने एक अच्छा अध्यापक और गुरुजी से मिली. So from there I just learned from books. I bought books online, that the ones that I could find, and I spent I eventually found a teacher or a couple teachers through a website online called italki.com that I still use, and I'm not a sponsored video, but I still use them and when I can to practice. So yeah, that brings you up to speed about where I am. So I would say तब से मैं हिंदी सीख रही हूँ. But I've since then I've been learning Hindi, but it's been on and off. मैं 5 बार इंडिया गई थी, लेकिन मैं 2 महीने से ज़्यादा नहीं वहाँ पर नहीं बिताए हूँ. मैंने वहाँ से 2 महीने से ज़्यादा नहीं बिताए हैं. So since then, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought, what I was saying. I was saying that I've been to India 5 times, but I have never been able to spend longer than 2 months there in one stint. Usually most visits I'm there for about 2 weeks to 3 weeks to a month. So I've had to learn mostly online. And then when I visit India, it's not really a learning experience so much as okay, test time. Here's the exam. Wow. Surprise. Oh, goodbye, Fireholder. Thank you for stopping by. I wish you could stay longer, but I understand. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so now that I've done that, let's see. I'll just catch up. I have been kind of glancing over at the chat, so should just bite the bullet on it. I've been thinking of using it for ages. Yeah, it really depends on the language. If some languages are very affordable, and some of them are not. Just depends on how in demand a language is. Okay, so now that I've done that, let's get to the part that you all probably came for, which is to help me write Little Red Riding Hood. Now, is there actually, out of curiosity, let's see, Luna Miura channel. Oh, nice. Luna is correct. Luna Miura. Yeah, I think that's pretty close. Miura. The ura might be a contraction there, but all the sounds are correct, I think, that you have there. Nice, Void Village. So here we are. So now, out of curiosity, is there anybody here who is not familiar with some version of the story of Little Red Riding Hood? And while I wait for your answer, I'm going to take a beverage sip. Lots of beverage sips. And maybe sing a couple bars of a Hindi song. Dil to pagal hai, dil deewana hai. Dil to pagal hai, dil deewana hai. I'm not. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, sure. The guy with the super Welsh name, who insisted on the super Welsh name, has no knowledge of the European fairy tale Little Red Riding Hood. Jose says, I haven't read anything about it for years, so I'm not sure what it's like anymore. Well, then It'll be fun for you. It'll be a fun discovery. The thing is that there's a couple different versions. I believe that the original Grimm's version is very dark, as most Grimm fairy tales are. Or no. Yeah, Little Red Riding Hood is a Grimm fairy tale, not a Hans Christian Andersen. I get them mixed up. Nowadays, there are lots of explosions and lens flares. Case Coyote, you may or may not. Hey, one's never enough. One is never enough because you gotta do text comparison, right? All right. So, Little Red Riding Hood. So, in thinking about this, we'll have to start with obviously I'm starting here because we have to start with the title. Little Red Riding Hood. Now, the original title for Little Red Riding Hood translated to Little Red Cap, if my memory serves me. So, knowing that, we could translate Little Red Cap for this, which in Hindi would be Chote Lal Topi, which is literally Little Red Hat. We could do Little Red Cape, which would be Chote Lal Choge, which would be referred to as the Red Cape. We could take it a cultural direction in India and say Chote Lal Chunri. Forgive me for my pronunciation. मेरी उच्चारण ठीक नहीं है. तो अगर कोई हिंदी बोलने वाले लोग इस स्ट्रीम देख रहे हैं, मुझे माफ करो क्योंकि मेरी उच्चारण बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं है. If you're a Hindi speaker, a native Hindi speaker, please forgive my botched pronunciation. It's something that I had really well, and then, if you don't use it in a while, you have to warm up after a while, because then you lose. There are certain sounds that do not exist in English that exist in Hindi, so they take some practice. Oh yeah, Grimm didn't invent anything. No, he just got to take credit for it. Let's see. So Choti, I think I like the idea. I think if shouldn't go the cultural direction of Choti Lal Chunri, because Chunri is another word for dupatta, which is the scarf that Indian women and girls wear. If we go that direction, then the whole story has to be culturally specific, I think, or at least in some other way. And I think that would get really confusing. So let's go with, I think Choti Lal Topi would be fine, because that's literally Little Red Hat. So I have my Hindi script on. So let's go. Choti. Lal. By the way, anybody who came to the stream tonight thinking I was going to teach Hindi, please forgive me. I apologize. I apologize for the miscommunication. You may very well learn some Hindi. But I will not be intentionally teaching you different things. Chote Lal Topi. So here's one of the sounds that it's going to sound like a D or a T, but it's actually a combination. If you take your tongue, I think it's called a retroflexive. If you take your tongue, the tip of your tongue, and you bounce it off the roof of your mouth while you say and you blow air out while you say the T, like a T sound, you go ta, topi, you'll get the topi sound. Oh, really? Oh, so Silas, you're from Malaysia. You're Malay. That's another thing. There may be words that show up in this that are loan words, because Hindi, like English, loans words from other languages. So you'll get Arabic words and Farsi and a lot of other things. My phonetic keyboard is going off the screen. That's fine. It's not necessary for people to see. So when I type in Hindi, what happens for this particular phonetic keyboard is it drops down the most likely, like 5 of the most likely things I could possibly be referring to, because there's so many different pronunciations. And then usually from that selection, I can pick the right word. Singaporean Malay. Okay. I have a friend who is actually, मेरे एक दोस्त सिंगापुर से हैं, वो अब इंडिया में है. I have a friend who is originally from Singapore, but she's stranded in India right now because of the quarantine. So here we go. We have Choti Lal Topi. Choti Lal Topi, little red hat. And Hindi is has gendered nouns, which is always fun. So actually, I don't know. I don't know without doing research, looking it up, if the word stream, which doesn't have a Hindi equivalent, the word stream would probably be feminine because a stream is video and audio, and the words video and audio are feminine in Hindi. So I'm going to extrapolate and assume that the word stream is also feminine, but I could be wrong. Be careful with the Q word. YouTube is being unreasonable. Q? What Q? Oh, I see what you're saying. Quarantine. Got it. Oh, I said it again. No! Sorry. Oh, right, because it's like, don't spread misinformation. So, for the writing of this story, I've got really huge font on so that you can see it better. So this picture is really only on the first page. So if we go beyond this, we won't have this cute little girl playing Little Red Riding Hood to keep us entertained. But I think it'll be okay. I think you guys will be okay. Oh, right, Quebec. Current unpleasantness. Yes, the current unpleasantness. All right, so Little Red Riding Hood. How did it start? Well, how do all fairy tales start, right? Once upon a time. Hi, Rumi, welcome. Hi, came just in time for stories. Okay, so all these fairy tales usually start the same way, which is once upon a time. So let's start there. Now, there's no real equivalent to once upon a time in Hindi, but when I have read children's stories in Hindi before, the way that this is sort of phrased is a very long time ago, such and such a thing happened. So that phrase is bahut bahut pehle. Bahut bahut pehle. So let's write that. So what that translates is into bahut word means very or a lot or big. And pehle means before. So a long time, so it basically means a long time before. Bahut bahut pehle. We're talking about a little girl. Let's see. What do you guys think? There was a little girl who lived with her mother in a village. Anybody have an issue with that phrasing? Bahut bahut pehle. Ek choti ladki. Oh, there's a sound that's fun. I love this sound. You gotta bounce it. It's a duh, but it's also kind of an R. So it's ladki. Choti ladki. That sort of S shape with the dot underneath is the R sound. So ek choti ladki apni माँ के साथ रहती. Oh, I guess. So apni, the word apni means you would add that after a pronoun or a noun to refer to try to specify one's own. So you would say to specify this is my mother or this is her mother rather than someone's generic mother. You know, turkey lurkey. Sounds like a vampire saying blah. The way I tried to practice it for warming up so that I say it correctly is I do that na 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 sound. I go la 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 la. Or no, that's a ra. There's a ra and a ra. Lurkey apni maa ke saath. Gav. So gav is, I don't know if I can, it's that nasal sound. Gav. Gotta go, I gotta put that in the back of your throat. So the word for village is gav. So let's see. Gav. How would I gav? Ah, it showed up. Yay, number 3. That little dot above the straight line is that sort of, it indicates a nasally sound. You're supposed to sort of press your tongue up against the back of the roof of your mouth. Gav. Gav me retiti. Retiti. Oh no, that's not the right word. Retiti. So, because Hindi is gendered, the nouns are gendered, you also have to gender the verb. The verb is gendered along the lines of whatever the noun is, in general, yeah, depending on the grammar. But yes, in this case, because we're talking about a girl, feminine words in general end in E, the E sound, or the O sound, and masculine words end in the A sound. अच्छा, तो here we go. बहुत बहुत पहले एक छोटी लड़की अपनी माँ के साथ गांव में रहती थी. So, a long time ago, a little girl lived with her mother in a village. Very, very straightforward. Nothing, no frills about it. No artistic, poetic nature about it. But just trying to get through the story, I guess. So she lives in the village with her mother. What happens next? She goes to visit her grandmother, but what's the impetus? What's the what causes her I remember correctly, her mom just says your grandmother is lonely or sick, or your grandmother's sick, right? And says bring your mother. Yes, she's sent to visit her grandmother, bring food to her. Taking food to her, right? Yeah, she's sick. Okay, so how would we say that? So one day her mother says to her, so ek din ladki no ladki की माँ. Oh, how would we do this? Is it nay or is it? It would be nay. I'm just trying to figure out. There's two past tenses, possible past tenses I can use here. One is I believe one is the infinitive. Oh God, I hate this. I hate grammar. I can go crack open some Grimm if you want. Yeah, you can if you want. Sure. Ladki ki maa ne kaha. So one day, the girl's mother says, "Beti, teri nani की तबीयत ठीक नहीं है. ठीक नहीं है. I think that's correct. ठीक नहीं है. So, ठीक नहीं है. So Betty it means both daughter in a general sense and also used as a term of endearment. So she would refer to her daughter. This is not her name. Her name, she'd say, my darling girl. Is what it would really kind of mean. It would be Betty, meri beti. Hey Divyansh, welcome. Today is your Hindi exam. I hope you do better than I'm doing now. Nani is grandmother. So here's a fun thing about Hindi. In Hindi, all the relative names are different. So you don't call both your grandmothers from the mother's side and the father's side grandma. You call your mother's mother is Nani. Your father's mother is Dadi. And then all the aunts and uncles' names are different too. So, like your father's younger brother is your Chacha Ji, and Chacha Ji's wife is Chachi. On your mom's side, your mother's brother, older or younger, is Mama, and his wife is Mami. So that gets confusing for an English speaker. Wow, and how old is her grandma? Betty. So Betty, Teri na. So Teri, your is and Teri is a very informal because she's younger. So that's another thing. There's also in Hindi there is a distinction between you would refer to somebody older than you or more respected than you in a different way pronoun than someone who is younger than you or a lower status than you. Oh, hi, Jeep. Hi. How's the storytelling going? Oh, it's going slow but fun so far. I hope everybody's having a good time. Doesn't say the color of the wine. Well, we can make some things up, you know. It's okay. It's called imagination case. Oh, hi, Michael. Welcome. So, yeah. So Terinani. So she's... So I'm just making this up. I don't know if the grandmother in the story is her mother's mother or her father's mother, but I'm going to go with her mother's mother. So Naniji. Wine and cake. Ooh. So there's no Hindi word for cake. They would just say cake. Like they would pronounce cake, but we could say mithai. Mithai means sweets, anything sweet. So like anything that we would consider like a treat, candy or otherwise, a treat would be called mithai. So beti tere nani ki tabiyat theek nahi hai. So tabiyat means health. Your grandmother's health is not good. So उनके पास जाओ और ये I could say it now. Wine would just be wine, but the Hindi word for alcohol is barfi. Yeah, no, the Hindi word for alcohol is sharab. Sharab. So we'll say that. Sharab. Oh, is that how it's... No, that's not how it's done. That's not how it's spelled. Sharab. Sharab. I think that's how it's spelled. I don't know if it's sharab or sharab. But I can fix it later. Just a reminder, if you're joining us and you're a native Hindi speaker, I just want to let you know that if you see a mistake, please just let me finish the sentence first and then let me know, and I will fix it post-haste. To be honest with you, I don't know if, other than sharab, if there is if different alcohols are specifically called different things. For liquids, there's soma, but soma is a very different thing. Soma is not alcoholic, to my knowledge. Wow. So, let's see. Ori sharab. Let's see. Paas jao. So, unke paas jao. Aur ye sharab. Aur mithai. Oh, let's see. I should say this this differently, actually. So ye mithai or ye mithai lekar unke paas jao. So actually, I'll fix this. Unke paas jao. So rather than say unke paas jao first, I will delete this. So now it says, ye sharab aur mithai lekar unke paas jao. This is really a fairy tale about conformity, I think. Hey, people come up with some dark interpretations of this story, I'll tell you. Just also to clarify, this straight line that's standing all by itself right here, that's the Hindi, so the name for the Hindi script is Devanagari, but this is sort of the Devanagari script equivalent of the period, just in case so that you know. And also just as a factoid, so Hindi uses this. If you look at each of these Hindi words, there's a horizontal line that crosses over the top of everything. There are no capitalizations in Hindi. So this is how you would tell. So this line going across the top of the different symbols is how you would tell what was a word. You know, where one word starts and ends versus another. Right, it's a sentence separator. Lekker down. So, how does this... So I think actually it would do... Nope, that. Okay, so my dear, your grandmother's health is not, she's not well. Take this wine and these sweets and go visit her. Lekker pas jou. Now, I actually shouldn't end it there because she has more to say, doesn't she? Doesn't she in the story, she gives a warning, right? She says, don't go off the path or something, or don't talk to strangers. Doesn't she warn her about that? And like she immediately, I mean, she's 8 years old, so of course she doesn't listen, but doesn't she immediately break that? I think the mother tells her not to go off the path or something. Thanks, Case. Why? And I don't know the story as well as I thought. Yeah, if she goes off the path, she could spill the wine. Right, because that only happens if you go off the path. All right. Let's flip a coin. Yeah, she goes, Oh, by the way, is the audio okay? For my own benefit, I've made it so that I can't hear any music playing because I have a hard time concentrating if I'm doing something word related. So don't spill the... So it's not like don't talk to strangers. It's like don't spill the booze. Grandma gonna get lit. Okay, excellent. So we'll say, we'll make it, you know, we'll say, so path. Oh, so don't go far from the path because otherwise the food will be ruined, basically. Okay, great. Thanks, Jeep. Thanks, guys. I can transcribe if you want. Well, sure. Let's see. So I'm going to think off the path. So in Hindi, there are a couple of words for path or route or road. We wouldn't use gully. There's the word gully because gully refers more to a like a alleyway, like a narrow alleyway in a city. And I don't think we could use path. There's actually the word path, which is path, which is literally path. So path, but it's pronounced path, which could work. There's also rasta. The rasta is used kind of a general term for don't stray from the course of things. I see it used a lot, much more. I see path and rasta used a lot in stories, so we could use one of those. So let's go with, we'll do path. Well, path could also, but path could also it refers to educational path or path of studies. So I mean, contextually, it people would read it and know that it meant an actual physical path you walk on. But path can also mean like a path of like a philosophical study or something. Let's see. One day her mother said to her, "Come, little red cap, here is a piece of cake and a bottle of wine. Take them to your grandmother. She is ill and weak and they will do her good." Is the path real or metaphorical? It's real. Set out before it gets hot, and when you're going, walk nicely and quietly and do not run off the path or you may fall and break the bottle. And then your grandmother will get nothing. And when you go into her room, don't forget to say good morning and don't peep into every corner. Don't peep into every corner before you do it, you filthy, creepy kid. Would this be easier for me to drop in Discord? No, that's fine. You're doing fine. Or I mean, we're gonna take bits and pieces. We're not gonna take the whole thing, so don't worry about it. So in general, the gist of it is don't stray from the path or you will ruin the food, is basically what she's saying. Your mother is sick. Here's some wine to kind of get her through. Here's some narcotic. Here's some narcotics to kind of get her through the night. Yeah, Case is on the case. Case is on the case. He's always on the case. Okay, so let's go with Rasta as the phrase for the path she's walking. So, raste se, oh, nope. Raste se dur mat jao. Raste se dur mat jao. Na to, otherwise, oh, whoops. Na to, which means otherwise. Ye kana, kane, kanpan? I guess it would be kanpan. It's more like refreshments. Kanpan is like refreshments. It's more like, come to my house and I'll have snacks for you. I'll say kana, ye kana, krab, o, jaenge. So, because it's plural, there's multiple things in the packet, so it's plural. Jaenge. So, see. So, do not go. Let's say raste se dur mat jao. So, do not go far from the path. Otherwise, the food will go. Oh, kana. I should fix that. That's kana, not kana. I have to fix that word. Kana. No. Lies. Give me the word I want. Kana. Why can't I have kana? Oh, I see. 4. Kana, kharab, ho jayenge. Otherwise, the food will go bad. The food will be ruined. It's interesting that Japanese, Hindi, and English don't really separate out the real and metaphorical sense of path. Yeah, I mean, path, the word path, I think that if you were talking in a metaphorical sense, you could use rasta, or you could use path. There's another word for street or road in Hindi, which is sarak, or sarak for streets. That is very much, I think, very much a physical street. And I don't think it's used. I don't know that it's used much in poetry and music as in a metaphorical sense, but rasta and path are both used in a metaphorical sense and in a very real sense. But yeah, you're right. They don't make a lot of distinction. Yeah, screw the skid. Don't ruin the chow. See, one of the things. So, as a side note, the Hindi that I'm using here is called standard Hindi. So it's what I call textbook Hindi. This is not the Hindi, honestly, for the most part. Any Hindi speaker will understand what I'm saying and what I've written here, even if there's minor mistakes. But it's not what I would say aam log Hindi. It's not the everyday on the street kind of Hindi that people speak, because that Hindi is full of slang and a lot of more loan words. So let's assume that I actually looked like I was from India and I spoke this way. People would assume that I was either kind of affluent, trying to be affluent, or that I was learning a second language, because it's ultra formal and ultra precise. It's called, there's a word for it, Shuddh Hindi. And so a lot of the time when I would speak Hindi to people in India, they would say, oh, Shuddh Hindi, itni khoobsurat hai, so beautiful. But what's problematic about that is that when I am in a conversation with a bunch of other Hindi speakers, like for example, and 2 native Hindi speakers are speaking to each other, I almost never understand what they're saying to each other, because even though they're speaking Hindi, because they're using colloquial Hindi. And I am used to learning Hindi like in a certain way, like the words and the grammar are set up in a certain way. So if it's not said in a very specific set of ways, it's very difficult for me to understand. So I tell people, you can say whatever you want. Tell your deepest, darkest secrets in Hindi. I know I sound like I understand, but unless you're speaking directly at me and speaking to me, it will be very difficult for me to pick up on that. And I don't know what it is. It's probably just a question of exposure. What I would love to do is spend at least like a year or 2 in India and just be on survival mode with Hindi, and then I feel like then I would get a hang of it. I would get grips on it. It's okay. I can't understand people from Boston. Yeah, you Boston. Park your car in Harvard Yard. Certain metaphors just seem really natural to use. Yeah, like a street. Okay. Let's see. You wouldn't talk about the street to mastery, but you would talk about the road to mastery, and definitely a way to mastery. That's true. Yeah, cover blown. Yeah. I mean, like, you know, a lot of the language learning programs that I have looked at are like how to, you know, if you take this program, you'll blend in with natives. Like, and it's usually referring to like, you know, Spanish or French or German. You'll try how to speak like a native so you blend in. But that's not going to happen for me in India ever. Like, there's never going to be a situation where it'll be like, oh my gosh, you're not from around here? Holy crap. No matter how good my accent is, no matter how good my colloquialisms are, I'm always, for obvious reasons, I'm always going to be an outsider. And that's okay. My goal is not to be mistaken as a native speaker. My goal is to have enough of the language that I can actually interact in a functional way, not just like, where is the bathroom? And, you know, how do I get to the library? Like these, I want to actually have a conversation with somebody about like, what's your favorite book? And what do you do for a living? You know? I think a good way to learn it is to stream in it. Case Coyote. Case Coyote channel, Boston. Boston channel. Is it because you don't pilot the meat mech when I'm in India? Oh, I definitely pilot the meat mech. When I pilot the meat mech, I am what you see before you. Perhaps a little bit more modestly dressed. But I am definitely in meat mech mode. Because if I'm in my natural, you know, I guess quote unquote natural state, I would definitely cause some alarm. I'm not monstrous. Don't get me wrong. My people aren't monstrous looking without the mech suit. It's just the meat suit. It's just that, definitely turn some heads. Gotta have the head shake while you talk. You know what the funny thing is? If I'm speaking Hindi to someone, in India or not, I actually have to be very careful because I will unconsciously do that. I will do that. I will do the head shake. I will not. It's just mirroring. It's just natural human social behavior. But I feel like I'm being offensive. Like I feel like they might think I'm making fun of them. And I've never had anyone talk about it or bring it up. Maybe because it's so integral. Like they're like, oh yeah, that's totally fine. But you know, I have caught myself doing it sometimes. I have a hard enough time keeping my rural Midwestern drawl and my nerdy subculture slang out of my prattle as it is. Why? Why? Why not cross the streams? Why not create a whole new world? It's like you cannot speak an Indian language without head shake. Right. Exactly. It's just in the pronunciation. Wow, we're not going to finish this story tonight, you guys. Oh, but it's good. We're having language conversation, and that's part of what this is about. So, okay, so na to ye khana kharab ho jayenge. So if you do, the food will go bad. So our little friend, the little girl's like, so that's cool. Oh, so actually I should put the nope, not question mark. Period-ish. Actually, no, I should do I don't actually know how it's done in Hindi, if they do the period first or the quotation marks first, but that's how we're doing it here. Let's see. So, okay, so she's got the warning from her mom. So I guess the next line would be like, so Little Red Riding Hood heads out. She says, okay, Mom, I'm on my way. Right? So... DK, Ma. मैं चलती हूँ. I go. Okay, Mom. I'm on my way, basically. I'll see you later. I enjoy no one being able to figure out my accent. I love my love and hate. Oh, this is going back to this a question that came up last night during the art stream with Nebulux and Seth. Is that what's something that annoys you that might not annoy everyone else? I'm annoyed by authors who and it only really shows up in historical romance, but in like historical romance novels or regular novels that take place in Scotland, where they try to like textually represent the accent with like an obscene amount of apostrophes. When I visited, and she had definitely picked up what felt intangibly like very Japanese inflections. Interesting. Scottish English, exactly. Okay. मैं चलता हूँ. मैं चलता हूँ. मैं चलता हूँ. Okay, so next in the story, she... New lore, Luna loves historical romance. I'll tell you a true story. आ जाओ मेरे दोस्तों, gather around my friends. मैं आपसे कहानी बताऊंगी. So, on one of my first visits to Earth, I said, the first thing I want to do, because I'm a nerd, is I want to visit an Earth bookstore, an Earthling bookstore. So I went to an Earthling bookstore, and I pulled up, I was alone again, because I'm technically supposed to be working, but on that, I pull up my phone, or what I guess our equivalency of our phone, my communication device, my visual communication device, and I call my friend back home, and I say, I'm in the romance section. I want to play a romance book game. Now, the romance book game is this. If bookstores still exist where you are, because I know that they're few and far between these days, you got to play this game. Go to the romance section. Randomly, just don't look hard at the titles. Just go in and grab a book off the shelf. And then as you take that book and then go, and as you do the rhyme, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by its toe, do the eeny, meeny, miny, mo. When you get to the end, as you're doing the eeny, meeny, miny, mo, you're just flipping the pages through your thumb, like you're flipping through the pages, just back and forth, back and forth. And when you get to the end of the rhyme, you stop wherever you're at, and you open the book and you read, it doesn't matter where, you start in the middle of the page, top of the page, whatever. Read. I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna find you will land on smut without trying. It's great. It's hilarious. So there's a game for you to play to keep you amused. Once you feel comfortable going into bookstores again. So let's see. So chote lal topi. Let's see. The घर से गए. Oh no, it would be घर से निकल गई. No, घर से निकली, not घर से निकल गई. If it was घर से निकल गई, that would mean that she got kicked out of her house. So I have to say, छोटी लाल टोपी घर से निकली, which means she left her house, निकली, of her own volition. घर से निकली और रास्ते पर चले गए. रास्ते से चल गई. Mommy porn. It's Midwestern housewife porn is what it is. Smut for the mutt stuck in a rut. Hey, you know what? Whatever gets you through, right? I mean, it's a pretty bad defining aspect of our species. I mean, it's porn is going to be like what appeals to different groups of people will be different. So the internet is for porn. All these guys unzip their flies for porn, porn, porn. Avenue Q for anybody interested. All right. So she's टोपीलाल छोटीलाल टोपी घर से निकली और रास्ते पर चले गई. So she left the house and started her way on the path. So I guess like some amount of time passes and then she's in the woods and now this is where it gets a little bit fuzzy for me because I can't remember if the wolf sees her on the path, right? And I don't remember if she encounters him because she leaves the path or because he approaches her. So I think I'm going to have to rely on Case or for those who have Case is on the case or for those who remember. YouTube is going to implement clipping soon, right? I'm surprised at you all. I personally don't know how to clip, but why would I know how to? Why would I need to know? I feel like some of you ought to know. Hey, Suzuki Zuruki, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Oh, you woke up late. Don't worry about it. I understand. India में बहुत जल्दी है. बहुत जल्दी है. सुबह में. Let's see. The grandmother lived out in the wood, half a league from the village, and just as Little Red Cap entered the wood, a wolf met her. Oh, wow. So he's like right there. Wow. Waking up early is hard. It's okay. Yeah, it is. It's very, very hard. Oh, wow. So the wolf didn't even there was not even like a trend. Like he was just like, bam, right there. Okay, so. Let's see, maybe download the whole stream and load it into an editor. I mean, I know that I can edit my own video when I'm done, but I don't know about you guys. हाँ, इंडिया में जल्दी है, कोई बात नहीं. आप आ गए हैं तो सब ठीक है ना? Let's see. So then I should say, so the words that I should use for this are just as, so jaldi hi, so just as she was entering the woods, the wolf approached her. You wanted to help. Oh, I appreciate that. Yes, thank you. Thank you for coming. So just so you know, just because you just arrived, the rule that I set up for, because I'm learning Hindi, is that if you let me finish a sentence, and if I've made a terrible mistake, or not even a terrible mistake, even a minor mistake, just let me finish the sentence first, and then you can correct me. And that way I get a chance to kind of learn from my mistake, and I don't get offset by, if there happened to be a bunch of people in chat who were like, no, you're supposed to say it this way, and all that stuff. So, yeah. So we're kind of, you can see what we have so far. We haven't gotten very far. We spent a lot of time chatting about language and all that. So there was quite a bit of Hindi. I tried to do quite a bit of Hindi at the beginning of the stream. So once you're able to watch the VOD, you'll be able to see that. So yeah. So we are in the story of Little Red Riding Hood. We've decided that the Hindi translation for that would be Choti Lal Topi, because the original title of Little Red Riding Hood was Little Red Cap. So that's where we are. So right now she's about to encounter the wolf. So we'll say just as she enters the forest, she meets the wolf. So jalde, oh, whoops. No, jalde hi. I think that's how it's jalde hi. This is another thing. Spelling, let's see, jalde hi. तो आप हिंदी क्या क्यों सीख रही हो? मैं हिंदी सीख रही हूँ क्योंकि बहुत साल पहले मैंने पहली बार रामायण पढ़ी, और रामायण पढ़ने के बाद में हिंदू धर्म के बारे में सीखना चाहती थी. तो मुझे पता चला कि मेरे घर के पास एक मंदिर था. तो इसलिए मैं मंदिर गई और मैं मंदिर के लोगों से पूछा हिंदू धर्म के बारे में मैंने बात की। अम, और उसके बाद मैं स्वयं सेवक की, मैं मंदिर में सेवक की, और जैसे कि मैं रसोई में काम की, मैंने खाना पकाने की मदद की, और जैसे मैं इस तरह का काम करते हुए मैं हिंदी बोलने वाले लोगों की बात सुनी और मैंने निश्चय किया कि मुझे हिंदी भाषा सीखना चाहती हूँ। तो उसके बाद मैं धीरे धीरे कैसे कहते हैं, किसी ना किसी कारण से मैं और from somehow or another, जैसे तैसे मैं हिंदी सीखने लगी। थैंक यू। सीखने लगी। सबसे पहले मैं छोटे छोटे बच्चों के साथ हिंदी सीख रही थी, और उसके बाद मैं ऑनलाइन से। तो मेरे अध्यापक, मेरे गुरुजी, हिंदी गुरुजी, वो जयपुर में रहते हैं। तो मैं जयपुर हिंदी सीखने में जयपुर नहीं गई थी, क्योंकि मैं वहाँ पर नहीं जा पाती हूँ। तो ऑनलाइन से, जैसे कि जूम और स्काइप से, और लगता है शुरुआत में हर हफ्ते एक बार मैं उनसे हिंदी में बात की। Thank you so much. But yes, I'm sorry, everybody else who's English speaking only, I'm basically telling her the story. I'm telling Suzuki the story that I told at the beginning of the stream about why I learned Hindi. So yeah, so मैं हिंदी फिल्म्स देखती हूँ। मुझे हिंदी फिल्म्स बहुत पसंद है, और मैं पांच बार इंडिया गई हूँ, और मुझे भारतीय संस्कार और धर्म बहुत पसंद है। तो इसकी वजह से और दूसरी अलग अलग कारण की वजह से मैं हिंदी सीख रही हूँ। तो you don't have accent while talking Hindi, unlike others who learn it. Thank you. I you're not the first person to have said that, which makes me feel really good. It's, what I did in the beginning when I was learning Hindi, because there's so many. I'd love to collab with you, Suzuki. That would be so much fun. It's a dream of mine to collab with Hindi speakers. So we'll talk after. But in the beginning, because there are sounds in Hindi that don't exist in English, I really was conscious of that. So when somebody was my first teacher, she was trying to explain to me the differences between all the T sounds and all the D sounds. So the da, da, and the ra, na, and the excuse me, that's not a Hindi sound. The ta, ta. I was like, all those sound the same. They all sound exactly the same to me, and they did for a while. And then I found a website that had Hindi tongue twisters. And I would just repeat the Hindi tongue twisters and rhymes over and over and over again. And that helped me kind of warm up and get used to the different sounds. It was awesome. So, yeah. So Suzuki, yes, I'd love to collab. It would be great. I suck at writing Hindi. It is tough. Yeah, I would say that writing and listening comprehension are my weak points. I can speak well enough to have a good conversation. I write to practice, but my handwriting is not great. My memory of certain symbols is not great. Hit us with one of those tongue twisters, please. Oh, let me see if I can remember. There's one about Chandni Chowk. I don't remember. And then there's one about camels. Unt is the word for camel. I honestly don't remember them now. It's been so long. Yeah, writing. So I know enough of the script to recognize enough to not get lost or something if I'm in India. But there's some contractions, I think, of sounds that I don't. Let me see if I can give you an example. So the word see, Kurukshetra is a word for this is for everybody else. Kurukshetra is a word that it's a place name. So let's see if but because I have this fancy little Kurukshetra, it's not going to give it to me. No, these aren't right. So Kurukshetra has these compound sounds in it. The word Kurukshetra. And it's take care, Luna. Oh, have a good night, Jeep. Thank you. Chandani chowk mein chandani raat mein either. No, it's like chachi chandani chowk mein chachi. So it's got chamach. It's got like a chamach in it. Chamach chandani chowk mein chamach chandani. It's I don't even remember it, but it's got chamach and chandani chowk and chacha and all those words in it. Have a good night, Jeep. Thank you for joining us. And gosh, I wish I could look it up. I'll look them up and I'll do them at another time, in another stream. But yeah, there's one about Chandani Chowk, and then there's one about Campbell's that's like I don't even remember it. Gosh, it's been so long since I've done them. But yeah, they're fun. When I've done them, they have been a hoot. So oh, your Hindi sounds so cool. Thank you. Yeah, so what I would love to do more than anything is, I don't actually know. If people ask me, I don't know, and I don't know really any slang in Hindi, and I don't know any swears in Hindi. That's intentional. Everybody says the first words you learn in another language are the swears, but I intentionally did not, because I didn't want to accidentally confuse one of those words with an actual word and like accidentally call someone's mother like a donkey or whatever. You know, that's just an example, but like, मेरा कैरेक्टर एक स्पेस में है. अच्छा, तो हम दोनों स्पेस से आते हैं, हम आकाश से आते हैं, तारे में रहते हैं हम दोनों. Do you want to know some? Oh, absolutely. I would love to know some. I would absolutely love that. Those are the only Hindi words I know. You only know the swears. I mean, you can call someone a donkey, like an ass, or you can call someone a pig. Like I've called someone a pig before, or a dog, but that's not really a swear. What woman doesn't like her mother being called a glorious donkey? All right. So then we have aur raaste par chale gayi. So she raaste par chale gayi. And then, oh yeah, we were going to say jaldi hi. Oh, you were, and Suzuki, you were saying it was not jalde, it was jaldi. Thank you. So it's jaldi. Is that correct? Jaldi hi? No. He. Not he. He. Jaldi hi. Jungle, it would be jungle. That's actually, so there's a couple words in Hindi for jungle, for forest. The most common one is jungle. But there's also van, which is kind of like that's not right. Jungle, jungle, jungle. Jungle, not jungle, jungle. Jaldi hi, jungle. Pe, would you read jungle mein or pe? Paunchi. Jaldi hi jungle pe paunchi. Just as she reaches the jungle, the wolf meets the wolf. May, it's May. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was May or Pe. I get those mixed up. Thank you. May. It's May with one little thing. No, it's May without the nasalization. May. I think. Sometimes this little word thing doesn't work correctly. तो जंगल में पहुंची. So जल्दी ही जंगल में पहुंची. I guess she had to meet someone. मैं उससे मिलती हूँ, or is it to get something? It would be मुझे. To meet someone, it would be वो, or no, because it's Ye. Ye. And wolf, the word for wolf, if anyone, I know that everybody was like, don't do Little Red Riding Hood because there's too many wolves in the VTuber community. They'll all get offended. Me swearing in Hindi got my YouTube chat frozen. I will teach you swears later. Oh no! Okay, you can send me a whole list. Wolf is Berdia. It almost sounds like Berdia, but it's Berdia, I believe. Let me see if it will Berdia? Berdia. I think that's correct. Berdia. Somebody, you'll have to plug that in. I'm not gonna. So here's the thing. I'm not tonight, for the purposes of tonight, I'm not using any dictionaries to correct myself or any Google Translate to correct myself. I'm kind of going into this, seeing what I can remember. So, Berdia. Oh yes, we got it right. Berdia. So Berdia, ye Berdia se Mila? Is it, because the wolf is masculine, would it be Mila, or would it be Mili because she's feminine? Mila? I think it's Mila. I can't remember if this particular grammatical structure is based on the subject or if it's based on the object. YouTube on top of their game. Mili. Okay, so it's based on her. So it's okay, great. I wish there was a way like I was saying this before, I wish that individuals in chat could have Streamlabs accounts so that when they're particularly helpful or friendly that they could get donations for helping out. Mili. Okay. So और रास्ते पर चले गए जल्दी ही जंगल में पहुंची ये भेड़िया से मिली. Okay. So just as she reaches the jungle, she meets the wolf. By the way, Suzuki, आपको Little Red Riding Hood की कहानी जानते हैं या नहीं? Let's see. So okay, it's still, so the story is a little still fuzzy at this point. She meets the wolf. हाँ जानती हो. अच्छा, बढ़िया. बहुत बढ़िया. So, funny side story. I've actually written a version of this story that is sort of culturally geared. It takes place in India. So instead of a wolf, it's a tiger. And so it's, and instead of a hat, instead of called Chotilal Topi, it's called Chotilal Chunari. So it's like little red scarf instead of little red cap. But that was a long time ago. Yes, I know you're bi. I was just curious if you knew the story, because some people actually aren't. Like right now, I'm aware of the gist of the story, but the finer details are escaping me now. So that's why we have Case. If you see Case Coyote has a copy of the story in English, and he's kind of helping us get through it when we get to parts where we're not sure. So she meets the wolf, and then does the wolf say anything to her? Does the wolf, like, is she? I can't remember how she gets disentangled from the wolf encounter, because he doesn't threaten her. He doesn't threaten her. He doesn't promise her anything. He's just like, hey, little girl, how you doing? Like, it's just it's sort of a weird moment. That's my memory of it. And then she's kind of going on her way. My memory of the story was that she was told by her mother not to speak to strangers. Ajnabiyon se mat baat karo. Don't speak to strangers. He leads her to the wrong way. That's possible. That's another version. He wants her. Oh, I know what it is. He asks her where she's going. You're gonna dump some dialogue. Okay, here we go. I think he asks her where she's going so that he can find out how to get to the grandmother's house. I think that's what it was. My memory. Good day, little red cap. Thank you kindly, wolf. So polite. What a polite 8-year-old. All right, so So let's do that. Let's do Namaste. He wouldn't know her name. I guess her name isn't literally Little Red Cap. He'd call her... I bet he'd call her... For the purposes of this story, I would say Betty. Namaste, Betty. He would say, Namaste, Betty. She responds with thank you kindly, so he must have to say something like, have a nice day. So, Namaste, Betty. Acha din ho. Acha din ho. I've never had anyone say this to me. Not really, but this is technically correct, I think. Oh, I know. You never use namaste. It's never salam alaikum or namaste or it's always hello. I'm a bit of a I love vocabulary. So even words that aren't used anymore in India, like I was giving the example of the word for university, which is Vishwavidyalaya. Nobody says that. Nobody is, I mean, it would be on a sign, but nobody says it. People say university. Aapka din acha diya. Oh, I use hello word. Oh, acha diya. Acha ho. Acha diya. Nice. Acha diya. I like that. I use hello or hi. Yes. Let's see. Wow, you're really doing a lot of dialogue dump. I just want to know. We're going to keep this simple. Let me see. Wither. Okay. So, good day, Little Red Cap. Thank you kindly. Wither away so early, Little Red Cap, to my grandmother's. What have you got in your apron? Cake and wine. Yesterday was baking day. Yada, yada, yada. Where does your grandmother live? A good quarter of a league. Oh, this poor dumb kid. Where does your grandmother live? Under the tree, large... Huh. Okay, I gotta go. It was an enjoyable listening to you, Luna. Okay, bye, Jose. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Let's see. I made a mistake. It's okay. Little Red. So she walked first. So the wolf thought to himself, what a tender young creature. What a nice plump mouthful. She will be better to eat than the old woman. I must act craftily so as to catch both. So he walked for a short time by the side of the Little Red Cap, and then he said, see, Little Red Cap, how pretty the flowers are about way. Why do you not look around? I believe, too, that you do not hear the heh. Okay, that's this part. Aapka din acha jai. Oh, okay. Acha jai. It's okay. See, acha din diya sort of implies I give you good day. I grant you a good day. So it seems very formal. It seems like it would make sense. I feel like if I said that to someone, even if it was incorrect, they would be very charmed by it. So, acha to aapka din acha jaya. Aapka din. Now, he wouldn't say that. He wouldn't say aapka to a child, though. He would say tera din acha jai. Or Jao, I guess. Jai. Jai. Tumhara? Tera, tumhara din. Oh, is tera too informal? Is that too informal? I get mixed messages about that because tera always shows up in Bollywood songs between when it's about two lovers talking to each other. But then my Hindi teacher says don't ever use it. Don't ever use it ever, no matter what. It's just too informal. It's too, like, rude. But it seems weird that it would be used in all the love songs and stuff. I don't know. I'll use tumhara. I will take your advice. You know best. Let's see. Tumhara din acha jai. I think also because in Bollywood there's a lot of other cultures trying to be represented that possibly that's why they get away with it. Tum and tumhara is used. Okay. We'll go with that then. I don't want to imply that it's, Oh, that also reminds me of a bunch of Japanese words. Will this not? Oh, there we go. Perfect. So we're about to go off this page, this delightful page with this little girl. So you'll just have to help me write this story. I'll have to switch the text color to black so that we can keep seeing stuff, but we're almost there. So, Namaste Betty, tumhara din acha jaye. I guess he would have, it would be, Bhediya ne kaha? Bhediya ne kaha? No, it would be kaha? It would be kaha? 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 Bhediya ne kaha? Intimacy levels, yes. So there's intimacy levels, and I think there was a point where words like the super intimate, like tera or tum, or tera or tum, was sort of like you would only use it for like very, very lowly people, and so I guess because maybe that's a kind of a no now, because it's sort of disrespectful, because now we're kind of like, hey, maybe don't treat people disrespectfully regardless of their level in life. But Verdia ne kaha. I think it's kaha. I think it's K, it's the kaha. I don't think there's an extra ne kaha. Conversation with people, but they're quite common in love songs and fiction. So in Bollywood songs, the informal for you, like what we were just like, or your, tera, or tu meaning you, is used a lot. But I've been told, hi Didi SG, welcome. I've been told, not by my teachers, by my Hindi teachers, never to use it regardless, even if you're talking to somebody who's very much younger than you, or somebody who you're very intimate with. If it's an intimate relationship, then you say tumhara or tera. Not tera, tumhara, tum. So, in North India, everyone uses hamare instead of me. Yeah. So, like, there's a movie called, the title of the movie is called Hum Aapke Hai Kaun, and it translates to What Am I to You? And a lot of people, rather than say me, which means I, they'll say hamara, which means, or hum, which means we. So it's like, even though they're referring just to themselves, they're saying the plural, they're saying we, or our. So it's like this level of formality, I guess. In North India, everyone uses, Suzuki, कौन से राज्य में आप हैं? आप कौन से राज्य में हैं? राजस्थान? उत्तर प्रदेश? No, it has a story. Oh, really? Can't reveal that. Oh, okay, sure. No worries. Understood. The streamer's code. Okay, so Beria ne kaha, Namaste Beti, tumhara din acha jaye, Beria ne kaha. Okay, so now we're getting into where I have to go into the next page. Maybe? Switch the color to black. Maybe I just have to go to the next page. Oh, nope. Don't do that. That's a terrible idea. Let's see, maybe if I... how do I... Well, that just stretches the picture. That doesn't help me. Do I go to the next page? Layout, references, mailings, review. So if I keep typing here, what's going to happen? Because I'm typing in a text box, so I think what's actually happening is that Ah, I see. Gosh darn it, I tried to get fancy. Oh, whoopsie. To fix that later. Tried to get fancy, and now look what we've got. Got ourselves in a fix. I know what I'll do. Insert another page break. Insert a page break. Nope. In Control Z. Insert a blank page. Nope. Oh, technology. It's like Control Enter for page break, but that just gives me an extra, like... Ah, there we go. Excellent. Text documents. Da 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 da. Oh, I hope there's not DMC for that. I don't even know what that song's called. Stream is lagging. New text box. Yeah, that's what I was about to do. I was going to say maybe a new text box. Photo alignment, borking it. Yeah, I was trying to get fancy. I was like, maybe I just should have left it blank. But I wanted to make it interesting to look at. Other than just to text, you know? Ah. And here we are. Goodbye, little girl. So here we are. Okay, so now, because we don't have the picture anymore, I'm going to move the margins back over. So we can begin again, fresh and anew. All right, so we left off, where we left off, it was the little girl, or the wolf saying, greetings, little girl, hope you having a pleasant day. It isn't illegal if you never get caught. When did that come up? What'd you do now, Case? All right. And then she replies with, namaste. Oh, nope. Namaste. How would she greet a wolf? I guess she's sort of considering him, like, respectfully, like, you know, because he's like an elder, I guess, in this. So, namaste, G. Namaste, G. Or no, she'd say uncle. She'd call him uncle. Namaste, uncle. Wolf uncle. She'd say wolf uncle. She would. She'd say wolf uncle. That's what she'd say. So it would, but it wouldn't be Berdia. She'd say the word in English. She'd be like wolf uncle. Namaste, wolf uncle. I think that would work. Main वापस आ गए. Yay! वापस आ गए हैं. Yay! तो namaste, wolf uncle. What up, dog? Literally. Namaste, wolf uncle. Thank you. She'll just say thank you. She won't say dhanyavad. She wouldn't say that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank? No. Thank you. Wow, how do you do that in Hindi? Thank? No, I think it would be without the g. Thank you. There. Thank you. Be careful, the Indian Supreme Court is considered the most powerful in the world. Yeah, watch yourself, Case. They'll come for you. They'll come for you. Modi's no joke. He is no joke. Thank you. Wolf Uncle is wrong, but it sounds cute and funny, as I think a real child would say. That's what I mean. Like, I know that I know that she wouldn't, like, it's not right. But that's what she'd say, right? If we were in, like, if she was in India, that's how she would say it, right? Wolf Uncle. Although that brings it into a little bit more of a cultural sphere, doesn't it? Gotta catch me first, sucker. Yeah, a child would say it that way. They would, namaste, Wolf Uncle. Thank you. And then he asks her where she's going. He says, Beria ne pucha? Pucha? Oh, nope. Pucha? Pucha? Pucha. Pucha. Pucha? Beria ne pucha? कहाँ जा रही हो? कहाँ जा रही हो? Where are you going? I accidentally put up an accent when talking Hindi at times. We were just talking about that before you showed up, how sometimes when I speak Hindi to when I have spoken Hindi to a native speaker, whether in India or back where I am now, I unconsciously do the head thing. I do the head thing. I'm so sorry. It's just part of it. I don't know why it's part of it, but it is, and I just do it. And nobody has said anything. Like, nobody gets upset or anything. It's just funny that that's what happens. I sometimes wonder if I say in English, like, because a lot of English words, Hindi speakers will say a lot of English words, even if they're speaking mostly in Hindi. And so, like the word university or college, they'll say those words, the English words, but because they are from India, they say them with their own regional accent. And so when I say those words in a conversation with a Hindi speaker, I'm always caught in this wondering whether I should say it, if I need to say it as I would say it regularly, like college or university, or if I should affect a quote-unquote Indian accent, whatever that means, to the word in order to make it sound right. I don't know. My model doesn't register small head movements. Not yet. Not yet. It just looks like you're vibing with the ebb and the flow, yeah. But yeah, so if I say college or university, or I'll say, what other word? Taxi? Taxi. You know, should I just say taxi? Or do I say a taxi? You know, it's just, I don't know. I had a friend once, a Pakistani friend who, and there's another one, Pakistan. Do I say Pakistan? Or do I say Pakistan? Because that's the way that it's pronounced if I'm saying it while I'm speaking Hindi, you know. So I said, what should I do? I asked her, she's from Pakistan and she speaks Urdu. And so I say, what should I do? Does it sound stupid and pretentious if I say Pakistan as Pakistan? And she said, yeah, it does. So don't say it like that. It sounds weird. So I don't know. But she's like a data point of 1, so I don't know. Second one is used by Indians. Pakistan, yeah. Not Pakistan. Pakistan. So, it's probably personal. It's probably from person to person. Beria ne pucha, kahan ja rahe ho, beti? Oh, no, Betty, but kahan ja rahi ho? So the girl, I'm referring to her as the girl, or as Chote Lal Topi, because the girl in the story never has an actual name. Oh, good morning, Garuhani. Welcome. She doesn't have an actual name, so I'm just referring to her as the girl. Oh, be right back. Oh, okay. Good morning. We're in the middle of a story. Story time. Okay, so Beria ne pucha, kahan ja rahe ho? Ladki ne utar diya. Utar diya. She, her response. That's a very formal, like, utar diya. मैं अपनी not nani ji, she wouldn't probably say nani ji. Maybe, not in this context, I don't think. अपनी नानी का घर जा रही हूँ. pronunciation is good. Thank you. Thank you. लड़की ने उत्तर दिया, मैं अपनी नानी का घर जा रही हूँ. Shuprabhat means good morning in Hindi. Yes, Shuprabhat. Or Shubh Hindi means super formal Hindi. Let's see. जा रही हूँ. मैं I'm bringing her this, she'd probably say parcel, like I'm bringing her this parcel. I'm bringing her this food, but it's more like a gift. Like I'm bringing her this, it's sort of like yes, there's wine and treats in it, but it's more like a care package. So it wouldn't be like I'm bringing her these treats. It's more like I'm bringing her this packet or this package. So she could say parcel, I guess. Basket. Yeah, because she has a basket. She's holding a basket, so she could say I'm bringing her this basket, this tokri. I think it's tokri. Tokri is how it's said. I'm bringing her this basket. Bringing her this basket. मैं उनको ये टोकरी टोकरी not टोकरी टोकरी is टोकरी टोकरी that how it's spelled though. Hello, hey Jim. Tokri. I think that's how that's spelled. I feel like the Tokri, I don't think the R is there. I think it's just ri. I think it's just an E sound. Tokri. I think that's how that's done. So मैं उनको ये टोकरी ला रही हूँ, bringing, ला रही हूँ. I feel like लेकर जाऊंगी doesn't work. टोकरी. Oh, टोकरी. So it's not रे, it's रे. Oh, okay. So it was supposed to be an R. Thank you. टोकरी. Nope. Wrong one. Tokri. Perfect. Tokri. La rahi hoon. I'm bringing her this basket. मैं उनको ये टोकरी ला रही हूँ. Or maybe it's उनके लिए. It shouldn't be उनको. It's उनके लिए probably. उनके लिए ये टोकरी ला रही हूँ. I'm gonna shorten, like there was just a bunch of dialogue there that I feel like is filler from the Grimm's English version, so I'm gonna cut to the chase with this. He's gonna just go ahead and ask her, rather than just sort of like follow her for a couple of lines. He's gonna just ask her where. He'll ask her where the house is. मैं उनके लिए टोकरी ला रहा हूँ. The subject is a girl, a little girl. So would it be ला रहा हूँ or would it be ला रही हूँ? It's लड़की ने उत्तर दिया. But thank you. Thank you very much for your help. As I was saying earlier, to Suzuki, I feel very happy that you've joined me. I know that it's very early in India. But for my learning purposes, let me, if I make a mistake, let me finish the whole sentence first, and then once I'm done and I'm pretty confident that that's what I think it's supposed to be, then you can correct it, and that'll be that way I'll get to learn from the mistake, and you'll get to help with minimal distraction, I think. So thank you very much. But मैं उनके लिए ये टोकरे ला रही हूँ, and then भेड़िया ने पूछा no, that's not right. तुम्हारी नानी का घर कहाँ है? No problem. It's already 10 a.m. and I am kicking and running. Nice. Honey is better at Hindi than me, by the way. You're both better at Hindi than me. So I'm in good hands. तुम्हारी नानी का घर कहाँ है? And then in the English version, she has this really weird description of it's a half a league away and under some oak trees, and I wonder how I can simplify that. I have to eat breakfast. Go eat. Kana kao. That is true, Case. However, you are better at emergency research midstream than I am. I wake up early today. I overslept. Well, don't worry. We're not gonna. I tend to only go for about 2 hours, so I'm actually almost finishing up with this stream. And we're not even halfway done through the story. So, but that's okay. I've had a chance to do a lot of practice and get a lot of practice and have a lot of speaking practice in Hindi. So, and I'm so happy that I've got some native speakers to join me in the stream while I'm doing it, because that helps me a lot. Gives me perspective. Keeps me honest, rather than me just saying, yeah, you definitely say it that way. That's totally how it's done. That's not Sanskrit at all. That's not Urdu at all. That's 100% Hindi. 100%. So, भेड़िया ने पूछा तुम्हारे नानी का घर कहाँ है? Actually, लड़की ने उत्तर दिया, यहाँ से दूर नहीं है. यहाँ से दूर नहीं है. It's not far from here. यहाँ से दूर नहीं है. I'll make this part up. It's a fair piece down yonder, I reckon. लड़की ने उतार दिया, यहाँ से दूर नहीं. I'm gonna say it's what is that old rhyme? Over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. So I'm gonna say that, over the river and through the woods. Well, but he knows that. Of course it's in the woods. I would say it's I'm gonna say it's by how can I say this in Hindi? By a river. So nadi ke kinare par. I don't know specific words for certain types of trees, really. So let's see. So nadi. Is that correct? No, nadi. I think it's nadi. No, it's not nadi. Not nadi. Nadi. I know that sounds the same to the English speakers in the audience, but it's different. Nadi. Eh, nadi. Nadi ke paas. Oh, so it is the E. It's the hard E. I thought it was... Oh, maybe when it's pluralized, it's nadia. So nadi ke paas. Kid wouldn't know a folk tree from a phone pole anyway. That's probably true. This language is too hard for my pea brain. You know, I'll be honest. I will say that even when I was just learning, really beginning, I think that from a grammatical perspective, I think that Hindi makes a lot more sense grammatically than English does. I think English is super confusing from a grammar and pronunciation perspective. What's nice about Hindi is that, particularly for pronunciation, is that it's phonetic. All those symbols are phonetic. So no matter what place they show up in the word, they make the same sound. So you never have to worry about like, oh, what is it silent in this word, or is it, you know, what does it make at the end of a word? Like it's not, there's none of that stuff. Pepal ka ped comes to mind in trees. Oh, pepal, I know of pepal. Pepal and in India there's the banyan tree. Nadi ke paas hai jahan pe where at jahan pe nadi ke paas hai jahan pe I'll say teen bade ped ugte hain. Matra is really annoying while reading and writing. Yes, I always forget which words need it. Which ones need just the dot, and which ones need the dot, and which ones need the dot and the half moon shape are always the question ones. Buskard. What's buskard? Jahan pe teen bade ped, not ped, ped, not ped, ped. Ped? I don't think this is right. I think it has to be a hard. So the matra is like bargad. Oh, bargad. What bargad kya hai? So the matra is wherever you see any shape that's above the horizontal line, that's a matra. That is sort of telling you usually what emphasis to put on the vowel. So is it an E? Is it an E? Is it an A? Is it an O or an U? Like it's telling you which is it a hard or a soft vowel, basically. That's what it's telling you. So you know, that's so per. This last word that I've written, it's the word for tree, but I have to. It's not. This would technically what I've written is pronounced per, but that's not correct. It needs to be per, which is an ah sound. But my little, I think my little Hindi phonetic keyboard is confused by that sound. Per. If I add too many, if I put two A's together, let's see, per, no. Bade, I could say banyan. Or people, teen bade people. Why there would be people trees in a European forest, I don't know, but, you know, surprises every day. It is a fairy tale. Bade. Maybe if I do an P-A-I. There we go, P-A-I, per. Yay, got it. Teen bade per. Ugte hain. So that's it's not far from here. It's near the river where 3 large trees grow. Because she's 8. She doesn't really like, there's no address. Okay. I'm gonna see. Okay. So what I'd like to do now, I'm gonna wrap up the stream for the night. But before I do, I want to actually go over. I want to read the whole thing that what we've. want to read what we've accomplished, basically, so that you can hear it all together rather than just broken up between English and Hindi. And then we'll call it a night. And then I'll probably finish it off in a future stream. Let's see. So Little Red Riding Hood, Choti Lal Topi, Little Red Cap. बहुत बहुत पहले एक छोटी लड़की this is the one I had to fix. Apni, that's right, apni ma. So I'll just say it. Say, बहुत बहुत पहले एक छोटी लड़की अपनी माँ के साथ गांव में रहती थी. एक दिन लड़की की माँ ने कहा, बेटी, तेरी नानी की तबीयत ठीक नहीं है. ये शराब और मिठाई लेकर उनके पास जाओ. रास्ते से दूर मत जाओ, ना तो ये खाना खराब हो जाएंगे. ठीक है माँ, मैं चलती हूँ. छोटी लाल टोपी घर से निकली और रास्ते पर चले गई. जल्दी ही जंगल में पहुंची. ये भेड़िया से मिली. नमस्ते बेटी, तुम्हारा दिन अच्छा जाए. भेड़िया ने कहा. नमस्ते वुल्फ अंकल, थैंक यू. भेड़िया ने पूछा, कहाँ जा रही हो? लड़की ने उत्तर दिया, मैं अपनी नानी का घर जा रही हूँ. मैं उनके लिए ये टोकरे ला रही हूँ. भेड़िया ने पूछा, तुम्हारी नानी का घर कहाँ है? लड़की ने उत्तर दिया, यहाँ से दूर नहीं, नदी के पास है, जहाँ पे 3 बड़े पेड़ उगते हैं. Sharab is alcohol. Yes, she does. That's in the story. She brings her. I mean, in the story, it's listed as wine. So I could have written wine. It was wine. So in the original story, this little girl brings wine and cake to her grandmother. So wine and cake, if you were to write that in Hindi, Hindi-speaking people would just say wine and cake because yes. You would just say wine and cake. But I wanted to be tough and difficult, so I just used the closest equivalency. So for the wine, I said sharab, and for the cake, I said mithai. Let's see, Akira Indian VTuber. Hindi is my first language, but brah, you read and pronounce better than me. Damn nice. A fine Chenin Blanc, no doubt. Well, thank you for coming, Ita Akira Indian VTuber. Thank you so much, and also thank you to the other Indian VTubers who and fans who came to help me and give me advice and corrections. Obviously, we didn't finish, but that's okay. We'll finish in a future stream. I hope that everybody, both Hindi speaking and English speaking, enjoyed the stream and found it interesting. Thank you all for enduring my. I felt like this was really useful for me, so thank you. And I hope that you all feel like it's something that you'd like me to do again in the future. If you enjoyed watching and you would like me to do another Hindi stream, this I just chose because I thought it would be fun for an interactive evening. But I can also do Hindi streams where I can teach you basic Hindi. I can teach you really basic Hindi. I could do like super entry level basic Hindi and feel pretty confident that I wouldn't lead you astray. But this I felt would be helpful for me and fun for you. Oh, well, thank you guys. Oh, thank you, Shadow Ray Gun. Thank you, Garhani. Thank you, everybody. Bardia. What is another word? There's another word I like that I hear all the time. Shabash. Thank you everybody for coming to the stream tonight. I appreciate it. I had a great time. I feel like it was helpful for me and I hope it was fun for you again, like I said. So have a good night and I hope to interact more with other Hindi speaking VTubers, Indian and otherwise. And मुझे आपसे मिलकर बहुत अच्छा लगा. और मेरी स्ट्रीम देखने आने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. आपकी रात अच्छी जाए, बहुत धन्यवाद. आपके भी, आपके ख्याल रखना. Take care. Have a good night, everybody. Good night.